Her words hit like a guillotine. Evelyn Holt, your chapter here is closed. Clara Voss, barely an hour into her CEO title, stood behind her glass desk, her voice sharp enough to cut stone. My fingers tightened around a cluster of white chrysanthemums, their damp stems chilling my palms like the sting of her betrayal. I set the bouquet down, its faint perfume curling through the sterile air. I didn't waver. 3 nights earlier, I'd laid the groundwork to topple her crown. That was her undoing. I first met Clara 6 years ago, when she was a junior consultant with a nervous laugh and raw potential. I took her under my wing, showed her how to navigate the corporate undertow, how to spot the sharks in tailored suits. She soaked up every lesson, her eyes wide with gratitude. I was her mentor, her guide. Now, she thought she could erase me. The shift crept in slowly. Her emails grew curt, her presence at my strategy sessions sparse. She started whispering to board members, her charm masking ambition sharp as a blade. I sensed the tide turning when I stumbled on a misdirected file from her aide, a keynote draft, her keynote. As your new leader, those words burned through me. Clara hadn't just climbed the ladder, she'd rigged it to collapse beneath me. Her betrayal wasn't a single strike. She'd siphoned my influence for months, redirecting my initiatives, sowing doubts in meetings, weaving a web of allies behind closed doors. By the time the board anointed her, she thought I was checkmated. But I'd been playing a longer game. I let her believe I was fading. I leaned into the rumors of my exhaustion, my obsolescence. I smiled at her in hallways, let her savor my supposed defeat. 4 nights before her first day, I met Nadia Quinn, the venture capitalist Clara had wooed with promises of unchecked expansion. Over coffee in a dimly lit bistro, I handed Nadia a slim folder, a contract Clara had pushed through 9 months prior. A reckless tech merger, overpriced and unstable, with a buried clause tying Clara's personal assets to its fallout. Nadia's gaze sharpened. Why share this? She asked. I leaned forward. Because loyalty should have a price. The next day, I slipped into legal's office and finalized a separation agreement. A trusted colleague had tucked it into Clara's inbox, buried among routine forms. Distracted by her imminent rise, she'd signed it blind. It wasn't just severance. It secured my voting shares and a silent stake in the company's future. She thought she was casting me out. She'd handed me the keys to her ruin. When she fired me, the chrysanthemums a quiet sentinel between us, I met her eyes and said, I see. My voice was calm, deliberate. I left her office without a fight, letting her bask in her triumph. The board lauded her decisive start. She thought she'd won the war. The next morning, my phone lit up. Clara's aide, pale and wide-eyed, shoved a tablet at me. Evelyn, look. Headlines blazed, stock prices plummeting, the merger exposed as a disaster. Nadia had fed the details to a financial blog, and the press tore into Clara's reckless gamble. Investors demanded heads. I cradled my mug, the steam warming my face, and let the satisfaction settle. The reckoning came a week later, in an emergency board session. Clara entered, her poise cracked, her eyes shadowed. She stammered through a defense of future growth. The room was ice. Then I walked in, not as staff, but as a major shareholder, my presence a jolt to the table. The chairwoman's voice softened. Miss Holt, they needed a lifeline. I let the tension coil before speaking. This company doesn't need promises. It needs someone who knows its pulse. Clara's stare burned into me, realization dawning. You set this up, she hissed. I smiled faintly. I taught you strategy. You forgot who drew the board. The vote was brutal, swift. Clara's title was stripped, her wealth chained to the merger's collapse. Her empire crumbled as she sat, stunned, across from me. Later, she caught me outside the boardroom, her voice fraying. I trusted you, Evelyn. Why? I smoothed my jacket, meeting her gaze. You trusted me until you thought you could outplay me. You forgot who taught you the rules. I turned away, leaving her in the wreckage of her ambition. The chrysanthemums lingered in my mind, fragile, white, a signal she'd misread as surrender. I lost nothing that day. Clara lost it all. And the sweetest part? I never raised my voice.